Yo, yo, what's going on, fellas? Hopefully you're doing well on this great Tuesday morning. What's going to be a great day? What a great day in sports we've got lined up. Afternoon Champions League, NHL, and NBA in the nighttime. Ooh, we're going to have ourselves a fun little day. Hey, let's make sure we, of course, go ahead and recap yesterday, and then let's talk some Champions League, NBA, and NHL as well. We get to ring the cash register after yesterday's 3-0 sweep. That's right, 3-0 and plus 3.13 units. Love to see that right there. How about under 9.5 corners in Brentford versus Fulham? How about a sweat-free plus money winner in that game? There was only 2 at halftime, I believe. It ended with 5 at the end of the game. So my buddy actually texted me and said, yeah, man, appreciate that, plus money, no sweat winner. Well, based on my results lately, I was sweating. Right from the first minute, anytime it would get near the end line, it's like, oh, dear, please, Jesus, don't go out for a corner kick. Even though it only ended with 5 corners, boy, did I put it in a lot of sweat for a one that wasn't even really close to missing. So love to see that right there. And if you bet the over in that game, obviously you were rewarded. If you bet both teams to score in that game, you were rewarded. I think that game treated, based on the 3-2 scoreline, I bet a lot of people came out ahead, and it was good to cash under 9.5 corners with you. Then we rolled that on to the nightcap where Fred VanVleet is now 6-0. I love when we get cashes, but then we potentially get some information that could help us a little bit later on down the road. He is now 6-0 since the new lineup with Jakob Poeltl in the starting lineup, kind of shuffle thing around, Siakam to that power forward position. We've kind of talked about that. Gary Trent Jr. now to the sidelines as a bench player. 6-0. Remember that, folks. That doesn't mean you blindly bet it, though, right? Why did we bet it? 5-0. And the Denver Nuggets allow the most assists to the point guard position. So we'll look for another matchup here coming up with the Raptors. Clearly, he's becoming a facilitator in this new offensive lineup. And if we find a team in the bottom, 5, bottom 10 in assists allowed to the point guard position, that's going to be a great play. Because what did he end that game with? Was it 14, 13, something like that? I mean, well over 7.5 assists. So love to see that right there. And how about the Joker staying under 10.5 assists and another relatively, sweat-free cash relatively at the end of the third quarter. He only had 5. He only had 5 assists. And we played the right angle on that game because I almost gave you guys over 22.5 points, which I did not end up betting. I laid off just because his game log lately, he's like on this impressive, triple-double run lately, and it's just not putting up all the points. It's just not quite, putting up the point production. So we correctly made the right decision, and we did under assists. And again, he ended the game with 9 assists. I love to see that right there. When it's all said and done, it's 3-0 and plus 3.13 units. Love to see that right there. Hit that like button if you were part of that 3-0 cash. If you cash the corners or if you cash either one of those NBA playoffs, hit that like button and let me know. And just as good as getting in winners is sometimes laying off losers. You don't see Isaac Okoro on this recap. We mentioned him yesterday. What was the one thing we mentioned that would get us off that play? Is if the Celtics rested their starters. Not only did they rest their starters on the back end of a back-to-back coming off a double overtime game, they rested Jason Tatum. I mean, that was the one that where, they could have rested some other guys, and maybe that would have helped Okoro because those other guys would have had a better night going up against bench players. But when you bench Jason Tatum and he decides not to play, I mean, that's the guy that's going to guard Okoro. So why the hell am I going to make that bet? No, I'm not going to make that bet. And I ended up sending out the tweet that said, Celtics rest starters, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go ahead and make that bet. So just a great day right there, going 3-0. Love to see that with you guys right there. So, all right, let's hop in that comment section. I want to hear about all the winners that you guys were able to put together as well. Good morning, Corey. Hope you're doing well. What a clean sweep, busting out the broom. That's right. Morning, Thad. Hope you're doing well. LFG Chelsea today. Who's on Team Chelsea and who's on Team Dortmund? We're obviously going to talk about that. We know Thad's on Team Chelsea, biggest Chelsea supporter in winning bets along with him in Israel. So, all right, Team Chelsea. Love to see it. Morning, Ross. You accidentally bet Okoro's over, and it hit last night. Love to see that shit right there. I did see that he went over. The line was at 6.5, and he ended the game with 9. Accidentally bet the over. God damn, those feel good, right? You actually log into DraftKings. You're expecting to, see a loser, and then you're like, why do I have that much money? And then you look and you see you bet the over. Love to see that, Ross. Love to see that. Jimmy, what's up, man? Morning took Miles Turner under max at cash. You took Miles Turner. I'm not sure what the max means. Unders at cash, but it sounds like you got a cash, and that's all that matters, Jimmy, is putting in winning bets. I love to see that, Jimmy. So good work, my man. I see you. Orlando City Soccer Club is plus 1.5 goals. You really like that? I'm not an MLS guy at all. I don't think I've ever given out an MLS bet. No, I've never given out an MLS bet in the 3 years I've been giving out bets publicly. I never made an MLS bet before that. That's all on you, I see, but it looks like you got a good one. So let's get it, my man. Let's get it. That sweat felt good. God damn, it felt good. It felt like it was coming. Felt like we were due. God damn, it felt like we were due. So love to see that. Appreciate that, Fish. Appreciate that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk. Let's just go right to soccer. I mean, obviously everybody knows my love of soccer. I like that more than, the NBA and the NHL. So we'll talk about the Tottenham to advance a little bit later on tomorrow's show. Just wanted to put that out there just to remind everybody that we've got that bet. But let's talk about this Benfica first half team total just to get a goal at minus 150. And I'm actually curious. I tweeted that bet out yesterday. Let me actually log into Caesars where I gave that bet out. I'm curious what that line is today. So let's see if we're on the right side of that. Something tells me we are. And then we'll break it down here. Totals. Let's see. Minus 185. Minus 185. And I gave the bet out yesterday at minus 150. Does Benfica need to score? No. Benfica doesn't need to score. They're up 2-0. At home. They can coast to the next round of the Champions League of the quarterfinals. But you know what one goal does? One goal ends it, right? It really just ends Brugge. Because the Brugge could get a goal. And then they're going to give the belief that they're right back in it. A goal by Benfica, up 3-0 on the aggregate. That's game over, said and done. And I think they're going to come out firepower. Look, their XG in that match was over 2 goals. They got 2 goals in that game. They dominated Club Brugge on the road. This is come out, blaze fire, get a goal in the first half, and it's dusted and over. And then, it's just a formality of, keeping possession and, just keeping Brugge off the ball and just coasting yourself to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So I love everything about Benfica to go ahead and get a goal in that first half and end that tie. So we bet that one accordingly. And then there's the big one right there, obviously, with Chelsea taking on Dortmund. I look at this matchup and I instantly remind myself about Manchester United and Barcelona, about not making that mistake. Remember how we sat here a couple of weeks ago and was like, I really like Manchester United. Like, they outplayed Barcelona at Camp Nou. I thought they were the better team. Did I give out Manchester United money line? No. I gave out Rashford over 2.5 or 1.5 shots on target that did not hit. I'm not making that same mistake. I watched Chelsea versus Dortmund a few weeks ago. Chelsea was the better team. Ball possession was 49-51, which, Chelsea only has 49%, but that's damn near like a win on the road in the Champions League. You get 49% possession, 50-50, call it. So that's pretty much a win. Their XG, Chelsea was 2.09. Dortmund was 1.51. Chelsea had more shots. Chelsea had more shots on target. Chelsea had more corners. Chelsea was the better team. I watched that entire match. Chelsea was the better team. We all know in sports sometimes the better team doesn't always win, and that's what happened. Dortmund hit Chelsea on one corner off a corner, or hit them on a counter off a corner. They had Adeyemi streaking at Enzo Fernandez. That's not the matchup Chelsea wants. They don't want Fernandez one-on-one with an attacking player, and Adeyemi gets the job done and gets a goal. But if Dortmund can win at home, I see Chelsea winning at home. Now, does that mean Chelsea gets it done in extra or in full time and advances, or do they just win by 1 like Dortmund did and the match goes to extra time? I don't know, but when that full time whistle blows, Chelsea's going to get the win. They were better at Dortmund, and now they're at home at Stamford Bridge, and they're just going to play. I would expect better, but if they play just the same, that's going to be good enough because they were better in the first leg up against Dortmund. It just didn't go their way. I expect it to go their way. A Chelsea team that's playing better lately, right? Since that second half against Southampton, obviously they lose to Southampton 1-0, but they played tremendously better in that second half. They looked good this past weekend against Leeds. I think Chelsea's turning the corner. It's a matter of time before Graham Potter starts getting the results, and it started this past weekend against Leeds. I think it's going to carry over in today, and I think Chelsea is going to advance past Dortmund today in the Champions League, but I'm just betting the money line. I'm just betting the money line because you get an extra time and then penalties, and then any goddamn thing can happen if you get an extra time and penalties, and I don't want a part of that. But at full time, Chelsea's walking away with that win. Bet that thing over on DraftKings at minus 104 and won one of your profit boosts. So what are you guys on? Chelsea, Dortmund? Let's see what you guys are on. What have you been hitting, Corey? You've been hitting live bets on Celtic goals in the Scottish Premier. Their games are on CBS Sports and Paramount Plus. Noted, Corey. Thank you for sharing that. Love it. Love it. You know I love live betting soccer. So speaking of which, live betting soccer, we will be on TikTok. I know I've mentioned maybe the last couple weeks that we'll be on TikTok, and then I'm not on TikTok. This is Champions League, folks. Like this is a soccer fan's dream right here, Champions League. So I'll be on TikTok today. Games are at 2 p.m. Central Time. Call it 1:30. Let's get on about a half hour before. Just I would say look at lineups, but you know what lineups you're going to get. You're getting no surprises. You don't get surprises in the second leg of a Champions League. You know who's playing. You know what I mean? So, all right, we'll get on about 1:30, half hour before kickoff, hang out, and then sit back and enjoy Chelsea versus Dortmund, at least the first half, before I got to go pick up my son from school. So that's all we'll do today in Champions League. 2 bets, 2 winners. I'd love to see that. And then we'll talk about Tottenham to advance. We'll talk about what Tottenham needs to do to win the match, win our bet. Can they do it? We'll talk about all that tomorrow. Your bet streak ended at 10. Oh, brutal. I thought you were talking about TikTok over there. Chelsea hit the crossbar. Bet that, LOL. Yeah, João Felix hit the crossbar in Dortmund, and he damn near scored a goal on another attempt. He was all over Dortmund's back line. You can bet, will a team hit post? Or I think they call it woodwork, so therefore you get the crossbar or the post. I love putting that in same game parlays. It's crazy how often that hits that. It's like damn near every game I bet that hits. It's crazy how often that hits. So love to see that. Yeah, bet that. Is that I don't know if I've ever seen that. Have you ever seen that in a standalone prop? I always see it once I'm like in the same game parlay functionality of DraftKings. I'm gonna look right now and see. You just got me curious now. Because it was probably gonna be under game props, I'm sure. Because I think that's where it is when you build the same game parlay. Let's see. Yeah, for whatever reason, you can't bet it unless it's in a same game parlay. But if you're building a same game parlay today, put in woodwork to be a hit. I love it, Dad. I love it. Thiago Silva is out. That's a true statement. He's out for a couple weeks. He's out for 6 weeks, I believe, Graham Potter said from his press conference. Oh, another thing Graham Potter said at his press conference. His Champions League one from yesterday that I listened to pretty much all the top 6 managers' press conferences. We don't know who Chelsea's penalty kicker is. Maybe you're trying to put together an anytime goal scoring parlay prop or something for today's 2 games, and this little bit of information could tip you into maybe who to pick. Because we haven't seen Chelsea take a penalty kick since Jorginho left to go to Arsenal, which was who their penalty kicker is. Graham Potter told the reporters and the media yesterday that Kai's the penalty kicker. So maybe that could be a deciding factor for you. Kai is the designated penalty kicker, said Graham Potter yesterday at his press conference. So there's that to go along with Thiago Silva's out. Yeah, he's out. Yeah, Chelsea was better. They're going to pretty much play a back 5 when they're not in possession, and without Silva playing a flat back 5 when not having possession, they're going to be fine. I'm not too worried about it. But I mean, it's a loss. I mean, let's not downplay Silva as if he's, a bum. It's a loss. So, all right, that's how I'm going to roll today in Champions League. Let's go ahead and flip the script over now to the NBA, and then we'll roll into the NHL next. Let's just kind of go game by game here in the NBA. You got the Magic taking on the Bucks. That's a blowout. I'm not betting that. It feels like every March I'm always frustrated with the NBA. Can't wait for the shit to end and can't wait for baseball to start. Well, part of the reason is you've got to try and predict in the NBA where the blowouts are because they happen every damn night and they happen. The frequency kicks up after the All-Star break. I don't know if teams tank. I don't know what the hell is going on in the NBA, but you see it. And we're always frustrated during the month of March. So give me Bucks Magic. I don't want any part of that. They played like a week ago. The Bucks won by 22 points. Sure, it'll be a little tighter in Orlando this time, but nothing I'm willing to go ahead and bet. Hornets and Knicks. Well, Hornets have played 3 games without LaMelo Ball, and they've been blown out in all 3. So now you're going to go into the Garden against the Knicks. You're probably going to get blown out, so I don't want any piece of that one. Nets and Rockets, good game, total of 227. So sportsbooks got it, generally bang on. You could take a stab actually at Rockets plus 6. I think it's good. I've got them losing by 1 point. I don't have the Rockets losing by all that much. So, but how many times we've taken the Rockets this season and they live and die by the 3? I don't need to die by the 3 tonight, so I'll pass on that one. Warriors, Thunders. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's just kind of bang on in terms of the numbers and everything. You could maybe take a stab at the under, but man, the Warriors and Thunder are just going to put up tons of points. So I don't feel like sweating out an under when I've got it scored at 238. Even if the total is at 242, I'll take a pass. What about Jazz and Mavs? Okay, here's one where maybe the over-under, isn't quite there. Maybe, the spread. But there's a great player prop. And who's a guy that the gent has kind of brought up from time to time? Walker Kessler is a guy that he's brought up from time to time. I'm going to go ahead and target him at over 10.5 points at minus 113 over on BetRivers. He's gone up against the Mavs twice this season. Remove his first outing when he only played 4 minutes and he was not a starter. Since he's been a starter, he's gone against the Mavs twice. How about 2 cashes in both of those appearances when he got 13 and 14 points? He shot 67 and 86% from the field in those 2 games. And what does that, and that's not a fluke, because we've talked about the Mavs all season about how they've been in the bottom of the league in defending the center position, allowing 67.3 field goal percentage, 14.9 rebounds in the last 14. That's up from their season numbers of 61.1 field goal percentage. We know it. We've talked about it over the course of this NBA season. Their struggles against the centers. Kessler's hit this number in 2 of his 2 games. Love to see that right there. Game log, I'll admit, it's shit. He's only hit 5 of his last 13 games. Has he gone over 10.5 points? But I factor in what have you done against the opponent, and then just generally how does the opponent defend your position? They're one of the worst in the league. You've gone up against them twice. You've gotten 2 cashes. I trust you, Walker Kessler. I trust you with my money. Bring my money back home tonight, my man. Get over 10.5 points at minus 113 over on BetRivers. Then you got Grizzlies and Lakers. You got no LeBron, no D'Angelo Russell, no Ja Morant. How the hell are you betting that game? I haven't had a big enough sample size to see what the Grizzlies look like without Ja Morant for my liking to put my money behind it. So that's it. I'm not in the business to force a bet, so I'll go ahead and lay off, and I will not be betting that one. So, all right, let's jump to the comment section, see what you guys talking in the NBA, and then we'll talk some NHL. You talking about Kessler? Come along, DeGent. Come along. He's going to reward you. You won't bet on MLS? Maybe a drunken night on a Friday, I'll bet it. But will I tell you I bet it? No, because it's just going to be a drunk bet on a Friday night. So, no, I do not bet the MLS. That's a true statement. All right, let's talk some NHL, fellas. We got Penguins. They're taking on the Blue Jackets, who allow the 3rd most shots in the NHL. The Penguins take the 6th most shots in the NHL. The guy that ranks 42nd in the NHL is Richard Raquel. He averages 3 a game. They've got his number at 2.5. Then it comes back to, why are they making me pay minus 185? Why are they making me pay minus 185? Hurricanes, the one up against Canadians. Hurricanes take the 3rd most shots. Canadians allow the 4th most shots. They've got, what is this, Chimchenkov? He ranks 33rd in the NHL. His average is 3.2. Nekis, he ranks 41st in the NHL. He averages 3.08. And Burns, he ranks 50th in the NHL and has 3.0 per game. Go look up all the juices of those guys. Minus 170, minus 175. I just don't feel the need to be betting stuff that's like that high, and then you're trying to drop in a parlay. And I bet if I went through what have you been doing lately where you've been getting your ass kicked, Jason, I bet you've been making too many parlays. So I'm not interested in taking 2 of those guys and dropping a parlay. But I think taking Richard Raquel, the Penguins, is a good play, and taking those 3 guys from the Hurricanes is also a good play. If you want to do it, I mention it because I think it's a good spot in terms of what we look for in NHL shots on goals. But like I said last week, there's been a change in the juice that's been allocated to these players. Maybe the sportsbooks are just getting their ass handed to them, and they've adjusted because the juice has been crazy lately. That's why we've been haven't had a lot. But I think they're worthy of a parlay if that suits you and that's something you want action on. But I'm not going to go ahead and get there. So no NHL plays for me. Just going to go ahead and roll a Benfica first half team total to get a goal. Chelsea on that money line, and Walker Kessler to give us back-to-back 3-0 sweeps going over 10.5 points. MLS is garbage. It was garbage. Like, I remember watching the first season and having that impression. I don't know. What is it? 15, 20 years in? Is it still garbage? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it is. Yeah, I don't know. Why is Minnesota favored over the 76ers? Well, you guys know I don't handicap stuff on the back end of a back-to-back. But it's probably because of 2 reasons. The 76ers are on the back end of a back-to-back, and the 76ers are on the road, and you know how road players perform better at home, so you assume 76ers role players are going to play worse. The Wolves players are going to do better because they're at home. It's only a 2.5 spread. If I bet I crunch the numbers, it'd be close-ish. I mean, again, the sportsbooks aren't handing out any free money around here, so I think it's just because the Wolves are at home. And the 76ers are on the back end of a back-to-back. You got Joel Embiid on these knees that are made of glass, it seems like. Do they want to push him hard on the back end of a back-to-back? He seems like he's always day-to-day on the back end of a back-to-back, so I would definitely take it. I'm looking it up for you right now to see if that's the case, but I would take it a little cautious. Nope, he's the only players that are day to day are Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker. So it looks like Joel Embiid is good to go. But no, I'm not. I think it's just because of the back-to-back and they're on the road would be my guess. That would be my guess. All right, fellas. I'm fired up today. I'm fired up. I'm on part of Team Chelsea. They're going to get the job done. Benfica is going to score in the first half. And like I said, Kelsey is going to bring it home. What else you guys got? Anything else? We're streaking $85,000 over on TikTok. We'll be hanging out on TikTok later watching this game if you've got an interest. Let me run through these games. I'll tell you the things that I've got scored. Because there are some over-unders you could actually take a stat. And I don't know, maybe if line movement moves in our favor, maybe I will. But Bucks Magic, you could take a stab at that one. 233.5. I've got it scored at 227. I went way over that a couple weeks ago. Wizards Pistons, I didn't do that game because the Pistons played last night. Hornets Knicks, total of 226. I've got 231. But again, blowout. I don't want any part of that. Knicks Rockets, I've got 227. They've got it at 231. That's the limit, right? You look for about a 4-point discrepancy in the numbers. That is a 4-point discrepancy. Warriors Thunders, 242.5 on the sports books. I got 238. You could probably bet that one. Maybe you could do a 2-team teaser. Tease the Nets Rockets up, Warriors Thunders up, and take an under. I'm done doing that. I'm sticking to. I'm just done doing that. Jazz Mavericks, total of 237.5 on the sports books. I've got 232, so you can certainly take an under in that one. But obviously, I've decided to go ahead and pass on that. I'm just within that game. I really like the advantage Walker Kessler has in the center position, and then obviously I love the hit rate 2 out of 2 in his games this year against the Mavericks. So I'm just obviously going to go ahead and play that. So that's where we're at. All right, fellas. Anything else in the comment section? If not, we'll let everybody go. All right. That is no more comment. All right. Let's go ahead and have ourselves another day, fellas. See if we can't bust out the brooms for the second day this week. Enjoy the Champions League action. Enjoy your day. It's a beautiful day in Chicago. Look to see you guys here tomorrow. Have a good one.